So sometimes in the YouTube process of making videos and doing live streams, there are technical difficulties. Well, in this case, this particular live stream, we didn't get it started until about 20 minutes in. So I'm catching the video up after that period. And when I realized what had happened, I went ahead and started to recap some of the things that you missed in the first 20 minutes. So in the end, you're getting it all, but you're getting it out of order. So enjoy this podcast. This is me with Woody from the Sweating Bullets podcast. And the topic of this discussion is simply our top gripes with this whole coronavirus outbreak pandemic. Enjoy.
Or whatever you want to call it. But nobody, CNN hadn't covered it, MSNBC, I mean, none of the mainstream news outlets have really covered it. Nobody's asked Joe the tough questions like, you know, when Brett Kavanaugh was accused, we had wall-to-wall media coverage 24/7 up until the trial was over. They finally cut it off, and it was finally we get a little break from it. But everybody, the Me Too movement, the what's her name, Alyssa Milano, all of them were saying every woman should be heard, every woman should be believed. Now they got a different tone, they got a different story, and that, you know, that right there just destroyed their entire. The Me Too movement is done. The feminist movement done. Their whole narrative is over now because they're not sticking to their beliefs. They have double standards, and I'm sick of the double standards.
I think what makes me angry is that not only what you just said, which I agree 100%, it's the fact that people aren't getting it.
Right.
People aren't connecting the dots. I mean, are you seriously not believing the hypocrisy that's right there in front of your face?
Exactly.
Now, when we see stuff like Justice Smollett was a big thing for our cause, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have Gervais, the guy who went to the Emmys or Oscars and kind of let Hollywood have it. That was another good one. Then you had David Chappelle did his Sticks and Stones thing. It's those nuggets coming there, but they come too far in between. But you know, some people are getting it, but I think the masses still just don't. They're kind of clueless. I'm like, it's kind of. Are you serious?
Exactly. And then just like what I was saying with the fake news media, they were talking this entire week. We've been bombarded with Trump is telling people to inject themselves with Clorox. That's not what the man said. He didn't even suggest you should inject yourself with Clorox. I mean, I'm just a simple guy, you know. And a buddy of mine, my latest podcast, which will be dropping probably this weekend, we were talking about it. And the way I explained it to him, you ever watch Home Improvement with Tim Allen?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you know when Tim needed advice, he'd go to his neighbor Wilson.
Yep, never saw his face. Yep.
Right. So Wilson would give him his advice. Well, when Tim went back to his wife or his kids or back on his show to relay that advice, he'd have it backwards. That to me is how Trump is. You know, he read an article or he heard from Dr. Fauci or he heard from this person and it sounded really cool. Then he starts thinking out loud. And that's where, but still, he wasn't suggesting people inject themselves with Clorox. And just like the hydrochloroquine or whatever, you know.
That's it.
Everybody was blaming Trump or saying Trump has blood on his hands because this woman and her husband took some aquarium cleaner, drunk it because it had hydrochloroquine in it. But that's Trump's fault because they said, well, we heard it was good for, you know, the virus, so it's Trump's fault. Well, now come to find out today, there's the Arizona, was the FBI or homicide? They're investigating that case as a homicide. So the woman tried to kill her husband, but blamed it on Trump. I mean, the media went with it. The media blamed Trump for it because of his reckless words. I mean, fake news media. Even when they get it right, every now and then, they're still fake news. They refused to cover. I mean, hell, they covered up the Harvey Weinstein. They covered up the Jeffrey Epstein ordeal, and still covering it up.
Still covering it up. Yeah.
So, I mean, he didn't kill himself, by the way.
I mean, anything that doesn't fit what it's gonna help their story, they're not gonna talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah. If they cannot push their narrative, this is why the media is my biggest gripe. They are number one on my list, biggest gripe. If it don't fit their narrative, or if they cannot push it in their way, they're not going to run the story. That's wrong. It's dirty. Somebody ought to be going to jail, or something ought to change with the media.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully what will happen is, well, I don't want to speculate there, but I kind of want to talk about you mentioned but I want to talk about the polls a little bit. Okay. There was a poll that came out today, and this isn't directly related to Corona, but it is important because Trump's numbers took a dip about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, to 43%, different polling, Emerson and so forth. But this week, actually, on Gallup polling, which is like the gold standard for, if you want to call it gold standard, polling, had Trump at his highest level with independents. And so he's at a 49% approval. And so another poll with Emerson polling, his polling with numbers were still overall down, but his independent numbers hadn't changed at all in two separate polls. And that's incredibly bad news for Democrats right now.
Oh, yeah.
So despite everything that's going on, his numbers are holding steady.
Yeah, well, his numbers have always been low. Even throughout the entire campaign with Hillary, they thought Hillary was going to wax his ass with it. You know, based off, I mean, I think his highest numbers were 45, I think, at the time when we elected him back in 2016.
Yeah, he never hit 50. He never came close to 50. He came like 50, 46, 47.
Right. And then I think it was December before all this mess went down. His poll numbers were at the highest they've ever been, which was actually shocking to me. But on my
that's kind of a whole nother discussion, though. But I kind of bring that up just as a backdrop into everything the media is trying to do. But despite all of that, they're still not making any inroads really outside of what's he's pretty much seeing where he was before the whole virus thing started.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The economy is kind of ticked off a little bit. It was down I wrote it down here, 2.3% today, but overall it's around 2,300, which is still 5,000 points higher than Obama's highest.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Obama's hit was like 1,800 as his peak. And so we're like still 5,000 above that. So that's how good Trump was doing prior to all that.
Yeah.
But I do want to say this. I don't want to be insensitive because there are a lot of businesses losing their family-owned businesses that are gone.
Oh, yeah, they're livelihoods.
And that's a tragedy right there for me.
It is, and that's one of the reasons I say we need to open things up. But they were on the news today. Oh my God, I was ready to jump through I could have jumped through the TV. So, thank you, dear. So the stimulus checks came out and they changed how much they were going to give for unemployment. I think it was like around 600 more extra a week. Well, like the Republicans argued before they passed it, you're going to have a hard time rehiring people when they're making more on unemployment. Well, their argument on the news today was that just proves that the wage gap or the wage is bogus. It needs to be, everybody's wages need to go up. But I'm sorry, if you're working at McDonald's, you're entry level at McDonald's, you should not. I don't foresee that job paying $15 an hour. I know that's what they're pushing for.
I don't see the math, and no one's ever been able to explain to me the math on the minimum wage. Right. I mean, I talk to smart people who got degrees in economics, and they'll go off this whole Keynesian economics type of, the spreadsheet, whatever, and like, dude. It's supply and demand. Why are you going off on this tangent? Well, it's because this, and markets and regulations. And it's the basic thing dealing with human tendency versus supply and demand, supply side. Basically, if I have a good and you want it, I'll sell it to you, set a price. If someone else wants it, the price is going up. If no one else wants it, the price goes down. right? But the
Right.
Keynesian philosophy is you set a price because the government doesn't trust you, and you go into all these different formulas and regulations or whatever to get it to fit within this model, which is this socialistic, esoteric, out there in the wind kind of ideology that makes no sense.
Right. Well, I mean, you take McDonald's, for instance. They employ, let's say, I'm just going to use these numbers. Let's say they employ 10 people. They pay 10 people $10 an hour. Okay. Well, that's what, $100 an hour that they're paying just on payroll. So that means they need to sell bare minimum just to pay for payroll 100 $1 cheeseburgers.
Correct.
Right. So if that's all they're selling every hour is these dollar cheeseburgers, well, they still got to cover their overhead. They still got to cover their product. They got to pay for those burgers, all that shit. So now they got to increase that burger even more so they can cover, the lights and the grease and the burgers and all that stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to watch my language.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So
no.
So they doubled it. It's $2 now. Well, they're covering that $100 that they're bringing in extra. That's covering their lights and everything else, their overhead. Well, they're still lacking on profit. Why do you go into business? To make a profit.
Make a profit. What's the incentive?
Simple. Exactly.
If you break it even, why do it?
Exactly. So now we need to add that extra dollar so we can make profit off of each burger we sell. So now that $1 cheeseburger is now $3 so they can make a profit. It's that simple. And why these damn social liberal morons don't understand that is beyond me. So
yeah, if you want to make your head spin, Google supply side economics versus Keynesian, KEY something. Your head will spin. It's like, dude, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Right.
What you just said makes sense.
We see back, I guess probably 20, 25 years ago, I worked at Terminix. Well, I worked off of commission, so I made 15% of whatever the job sold. Oh, wow. So if the guy sold a termite treatment for $100, I made $15. Here's my kicker. This where I figured all this shit out. Because my salesman would sell a termite job for $100, I made $15 for an entire day because a termite job is a day's worth of work. That's 8 hours worth of work. And I just made $15. I used to raise holy hell about that because he was an a-hole.
Yeah, it should have been per. Yeah, it should have been per the work unit, whatever that it would be.
Right. But he was the number one salesman, and the reason he was basically giving the jobs away. So yeah, Terminix was making money, but when I'm over there having to trench out the house and drill the holes and spend all day to treat their house, you're cutting into my pocket. $15 for a day? No. So yeah, I used to raise hell a lot, but that's why I do what I do now and not still working there.
Yeah, I had Terminix for a while. They were okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Terminix. I'm thinking about Camelon. They came like what once a quarter, I think.
Okay, so that would have been for pest control, where you pay.
I'm thinking about Camelon, but
yeah, where you pay like $150 a quarter, and then every quarter.
Yeah.
That's just pest control. Yeah, those. Yeah, okay. I think those jobs. If I remember correctly, this, like I said, it's been 25 years ago. But what was I going? Oh, I think we made like $10 or $15 per house. So if you did 10 or 15 houses a day, you made a good money doing just the pest control part of it. That was the department to be in, was the pest control, because you could knock a house out. A house like mine would take you about 15, 30 minutes to do a proper job. You know what I mean? to get the job done. It's treated. You move on to the next house. So I mean, I was able to pump out 10 or 15 houses a day, making a killing doing
That's good
on
money
the
there.
pest control side. Yeah. So, and of course, I had the company truck and all that stuff. So my house stayed bug free for a long time.
And they expense all your expense it all too. So
Cool.
So yeah, I was going to touch base real quickly on the jobs. Even the jobs are, you mentioned earlier, and by the way, I started the recording late, so the whole thing didn't get started. So unfortunately, sorry about that. But earlier you mentioned about, and people who didn't see this, you mentioned that you felt that the economy would be growing really, really quickly once we get back to work and up to speed. And I totally agree with that. And what I was going to say was, it's going to be because the jobs that went away are coming back. Unlike Obama's jobs, they weren't coming back. These jobs, well, you know what I'm saying. I mean,
Obama said they were not coming back,
but they eventually did. A lot of them still came back. So, but
and a bunch of them are coming back.
I'm sorry.
And a bunch of them are coming back.
Yeah, but yeah. So what I'm saying is, people look. For instance, our Carter Brothers here in town, right? It closed. It's been around for like 40 years, 50 years, right?
Yeah.
But there's gonna be another company come in to do that. So Carter Brothers it sucks for them, but somebody else is gonna come in and fill that void. So on one side, it's bad for Carter Brothers, but for everyone else, there's gonna be another company that comes in that does something. Hopefully, it's good quality. And that's what we're gonna see. Things, shops close and shops come up, but because people still need plumbers, they need mechanics, they need restaurants, they need places to go.
The one thing that worries me is okay, so I don't know if you saw the article. There was an article that came out Monday where a woman had gotten the loan up in Seattle, Washington. She owned a spa. I think it was like 3 or 4 spas. She employed like 50 people. Well, she went and applied for the small business loan, and part of that agreement, she couldn't lay anybody off. Well, she done a live video chat with everybody, and the employees are raising hell because they're making more money on unemployment. So basically, what the government has done is took the incentive away of going back to work. So that's going to have a huge effect when things open back up. Because if I'm making more than I was when I was actually working, I'm going to sit my fat ass at home. Because there's no one, I'm making more, doing that. Yeah, it's wrong, but there's no incentive for me to go back to work because I'm making more sitting on my ass. That makes no sense to me.
And so now this poor lady in Seattle doesn't have any employees.
Exactly.
And she can't lay them off. And she can't lay them off, right? Based on what you said.
Now, I think they can quit, but I don't know how that works or would work with unemployment. Because if you quit your job, you couldn't get unemployment.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's changed.
Yeah. If she can't lay them off and they're still on unemployment, that really sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Because they ain't coming back.
Yeah. Yep. So my liberal friends are saying, "Oh, well, she ought to give them a raise." I'm like, if she gives them a raise, then she's going to have to go up on her prices. And if she goes up on her prices, she just cut half her clientele in half. Because,
and like you said, she has multiple locations, right? Not just one location.
Exactly.
So that problem is it expands times however many she has.
Exactly. So
people don't understand, the bigger your business is, the easier it is for the fall.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a big business, I mean, you have to be kind of silly to do it, but most of it comes in companies like Kmart, like Circuit City. If you go back and look at having those companies, a lot of it was just they were over leveraged with debt, and it probably wasn't even their business model. It was because they took on a venture that tanked them, and that one decision caused them to go under because of a debt ratio. It just didn't make any sense for them to keep the doors open. And so for her, it's the same kind of situation. She may be profitable in the business model sense, but if she's not making any money because she's got this leverage thing against her.
Yeah. And okay, so It come out, I think it was yesterday. There was a tattoo parlor. The guy was arrested for opening his tattoo shop up because, the whole stay at home. Have you been to a tattoo parlor?
It's been a while.
Okay. I don't know about the one you went to, but most of them...
Go ahead. I've watched all the reality shows, Ink Master, every single season. So I know more about tattoos than most people do. But I don't have one, but I'm into the culture. But go ahead.
But my point of it is most of those shops are cleaner than Walmart, hands down by far.
They have to be. Yep.
You're cutting into somebody's skin.
They all wear gloves. They all wear masks. Most of them wear masks. Exactly.
And they're cleaner than most places that people that are essential are going to right now. So it may not be an essential job per se, but it's probably cleaner than most of these essentials that we're going to. So
the tattooing culture takes that extremely seriously.
Exactly. So why would you mess with that? Because it's not essential. It makes no sense. Because again, they're cleaner than most. And every shop I've ever been into, you might have a total of 10 or 15 people in there. But if somebody's tattooing, it's the artist and then the client. They might allow one person, a spectator, if you will, to come in and watch, but there's only 2 or 3 people in that particular studio. And then you go to the next room, you might have 1 or 2 or a couple people, and so on and so forth. Lobby wise, you might have a couple people. So, the social distancing is working perfectly, in my opinion, in the tattoo shops. That was before we had the orders. The whole shutdown.
If they wanted to say it, they could say, look, just if you're a tattoo parlor opening, just make sure you do what you just said. Make sure you have segregated parlors. Make sure your waiting room certain size. And if not, give them all masks, because you know what? Those parlors do have masks.
Exactly. And they got gloves. So,
and they have plenty of black gloves. These black gloves. That's it.
So, and then just like your spa is the same thing. Your nail salons, same way. Most of them are wearing a mask already. They're wearing gloves and a mask. So,
dude.
So, what more harm is it going to be to allow those places to be open, those small businesses to be open? Again, a lot of them are cleaner than Walmart or any grocery store you go to right now.
And for those who missed it, he mentioned before about Walmart, about wearing gloves and masks, and how you go to Walmart, touch stuff with your gloves on, come into your car. Before you go to your car, get your keys out of your wallet, and then you touch your car, contaminate the groceries and everything else inside your car. So the gloves basically did nothing for you.
Absolutely nothing.
And I want to bring that up because people probably didn't hear that part. But when you talk about the tattoo parlor and the salons and the hair salons, dude, the fact that I have a bald head is awesome.
Well, I got long hair. I got the old hippie hair.
It's tough. How you get your haircut, man? Come on.
I don't need
how you do it. Well, I'm saying, but if you were to get a haircut, right? It'd be,
I got a friend. She'll come and cut my hair. That's not. You should do it.
Okay.
A guy I work with, his wife cuts hair for a living, and she's making twice the money she was making on unemployment than she was cutting hair. So she's like, I'm riding this out.
Right.
But I could call her, give her $20-$25 to come and cut my hair, and she'll come here. I ain't have to go to her.
Well, my hair fell out about 15 years ago, and I was sad until this happened.
Well, if I kept my head shaved, I got clippers in the back. Ain't nothing to that, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. So let me see what else I got here. Okay. So, all right. So what about Antifa? All right. I just have a question. This isn't a gripe or anything, but where's Antifa at? You would think that they have masks. They hate the government. They hate fascists. And this is what's happening. A lot of people think it's happening in lockdown, whatever. Where are they at this point? You would think that they would be the ones, leading the charge.
I've asked the same question.
Oh, really?
Because they're anti-fascism. Well, right now, your governors and mayors are being fascist. Fascist.
Fascistic.
Let me have another beer. Okay, so they're being What was it you said?
They're practicing fascism.
See, I done messed up now. So,
but here's the deal, though. I mean, because they took all this trash, all this crap about Trump being this Hitler, Mussolini, whatever you want to call him, Pol Pot, go down the list, whatever. And yet, these guys, they wear masks, so that's not a problem. They hate fascist government, totalitarianism. So what's the deal? I find it laughable. It just shows you that their anti-fascism has nothing to do with that. It has to do with a socialistic, liberalistic policy that they just want to cover because they want to bash conservatives and put their own agenda in there.
Exactly.
That's all it really is. They're so.
One thing about it. One thing that this virus has shed some light on with Trump, he does not want to use the government and try and strip somebody of their rights. I mean, that's one thing he has proven to himself. Like with the Defense Care Act, is that what it's called? The one where he pretty much
yes. Talking about the military
where Trump can go in a business and force them to make a ventilator.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. Sorry.
Okay, that was the I thought it was the Defense Act where.
Okay.
But so the Democrats were pushing Trump to enact that act. They were pushing him to enforce it, to open it up again or whatever.
Like World War II, basically.
Right.
Like
retool
exactly. Your place. Now you did this. Now you're gonna do bullets, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
or whatever.
But this was when GM and Ford were going to start making the ventilators. So Trump hadn't even considered, signing that executive order to get Ford and GM to make those ventilators. It was not until GM tried to, I guess, blackball the government. They said that they could make these ventilators, 150,000 of them at this price, but then they came back, well, it's more like 50,000 and it'll be 3 times the price. That's right. When Trump, enforced or signed that executive order. But my point is it took about a month before he even considered signing that order. So people ought to be really thankful Trump is in office right now, because he is about the furthest thing from a dictator or authoritarian or communist or whatever the fad is today to call him. And he's proven that with this virus.
I think because Trump believes in the American spirit, he believes in the economy, he believes that this is going to correct itself. And when he got that bid from Air Force One to have it retooled, and they gave him that big price, he said, "Screw it, I'm gonna." He basically said, "I'm not going to do that." And he said, so he's already shown he's going to pay the right price. So even though he had the right to do the enact of the Defense Care Act, I guess he figured that GM and Ford or whatever were going to go ahead and do it anyway. I guess they said they're going to do it at a certain price, and then only until they said, "Oh, we can get 3 times more money," did he come in there and actually do an executive order, which basically falls in line with what we did with Air Force One. He's only looking at it from a sense of, I'm not doing this because I don't believe in you. I'm doing it because I think you're trying to be greedy and you're trying to take advantage of the system. But ultimately, it's about he believes that the economy will fix itself, but we have to push it along where need be.
Yeah.
Which is why he's not married. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to finish off. I'll say, well, just why he's not so. That's why I like him not being an ideologue, okay? An ideologue would say, I'm not raising taxes no matter what. Trump says, you know what? If I raise taxes now, I know in 2 years we're going to have 10 times the money. Because, you know what I'm saying?
Trump said, because he's so confident in the economy and the American spirit that he doesn't mind raising the taxes now because he feels that it's going to be 10 times better, down the road. Which is,
right.
That's we could argue if that's right or not, but that's how he is as a person.
Right. Well, I mean, these stimulus checks. This was on my gripe list. The stimulus checks, they're not stimulating anything.
No.
$1,200. I mean, the average person with rent, light bill, groceries, all that mess, $1,200 is done within the first week or two.
It's a joke.
And that's if they stretch it out.
It's a joke.
But you're still not stimulating anything because nobody's working.
Right.
You got how many millions are out of work right now? Was it 15 or 20 million people?
Man, and the unemployment rate's going way up.
It's through the roof. So I mean, the stimulus, it's not really going to benefit the economy at all. I mean, so small businesses can stay afloat they can take a loan and stay afloat. But what happens? How long is this shutdown going to be? That's the biggest question right there. Yeah. If we take a loan, $100,000 loan out, and the bank is okay with floating that loan for 2 months, that's all fine and good. But if we don't open back up within those 2 months, are they going to extend that later, further? And then by that time, you're going to need another loan because you've been paying your employees that are not working. So you're not making a product or providing a service. So it's really, I understand why they felt the need, but I think it's doing more harm than good. And then when you take Sweden, for instance, they're telling us with these quarantines and the shutdown that when we open back up, we're going to have a second wave. And most of the time, a second wave is worse than the first wave, right? So with us being shut down, we're not building that herd immunity.
Yep.
So like Sweden, in 6 months, yeah, they might have a higher death count, but in the long run, they're going to have that herd immunity. They're not going to have a second wave. They're going to be all fine and dandy in 6 months, where we're going to be struggling because we're having a second wave. And I don't foresee us being able to shut down again. Once they open back up, they're not going to be able to shut it down again. I don't think the people would do it. As they're having a hard time with it now, I don't foresee them doing it for a second wave.
Yeah, you raised probably of the things you raised tonight. This is probably the most, I'd say, scary.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, the most likely.
Yeah. So I mean, what was the point of shutting us down? In my opinion, yeah, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a epidemiologist or anything by no means. But the point of the shutdown was to slow the rate and flatten the curve, right? That's what they claimed. Well, the point of it is so we didn't overrun the hospitals and.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
This virus, it caught us with our pants down. Our pants down, or I'm not going to say.
Right. Well, yeah, you're right.
It caught us with our pants down. None of the states were prepared for it. The federal government was definitely not prepared for it. So we're running short on ventilators. We're running short on masks. We're running short on gloves. That's why in the beginning they were telling people don't wear masks. Well, because they're trying to get the masks to provide the federal government and the states. Well, now I think that they've got the supply, so now it's time to start opening things back up.
But it's gotten good to them, though.
Do what?
It's gotten good to them.
Right.
The power.
Yeah. So open the states back up, and we're going to suffer the second wave. If you already have an underlying issue, stay home. If you're already sick, they've proven outside. everybody else is passing along in the subways and on trains and on planes and
Yeah.
in the cars and the homes and the businesses. And there's only 2 cases, and those 2 people were talking to each other for like 30 minutes or so, according to this article. That's the only 2 confirmed where they were caught outside. So closing your parks, closing your beaches is a waste of time. Because
oh my gosh.
well,
Sorry.
when we go to the beach, we're pretty good distance away from each other, My family sits in this area, your family sits in this area, so on and so forth. We're not laying on top of each other, laying out in the sun. But
especially
the virus,
if you were half naked, you're kind of keeping a distance from each other.
Exactly.
You're at the beach,
having a good time.
Right.
Spending time with your family and trying not to be the obvious guy checking out that chick over there with the
right.
the bikini.
Exactly.
But so they're saying that this virus cannot live in hot, humid, sunny conditions. It cannot live those conditions. So the beach would be the best place for you. Outside is the best place for you, instead of being inside of a house or a building that's recycling the air.
Yep.
So these stay-at-home orders, it's time to open things up. The more I read,
so
the more
you basically just
go ahead.
No, I was basically saying I was going to repeat what you said. You basically said that the timeline coming down with the hospitals not being overrun and so forth because they have lack of ventilators, masks, gloves, etc. But now that we have that, why are we still shut down? That's your question,
right? And then,
especially considering the evidence you're talking about in terms of it being outside and being less likely to catch it. That's why I'm getting upset now, because I'm not really up to speed on this like I should be. I did a couple of videos on the timeline and how they lied about Trump, whatever, but just kind of different than all this. It has nothing less to do about the virus itself, but how the media is spinning it for their own political gain. But I haven't really got into depth into the actual science of it. That's really depressing right there.
Yeah, it is. And when people are talking shit about these protesters, when you see articles where I think actually I have one right here on my phone. I sent it to myself so I could shoot, where is it? So I could use it on my podcast. So so when you have police going out arresting people or harassing people because they're not staying home, there was a place in where was it? Minnesota or something like that, where a woman allowed her child to go to a neighbor's house to play with her child. The cops came and harassed her over that. I mean, it was a straight up harassment. It was it wasn't no, well, y'all need to keep it. No, this dude was being a straight up D-bag and messing with this woman. And hey, I'm for the cops. I'm always supported the cops. So don't take that the wrong way that I'm one of those people.
No. I don't think. No, I think people get where you're coming from.
Yeah, but
I mean, it has nothing. The cop's doing his job, and someone told him to do that.
Yeah, but
right?
he didn't.
You don't think so?
I don't think he had to go as far as he did. He was just being a straight up dick about it.
Okay,
but just like here in Alamance County, you had says people in Alamance County are being cited for not staying home. I ain't going to go into the whole reading thing because, according to Michelle, I'm not a very good reader out loud. So I don't want to bore you to death with my reading.
Well, you can send me the link. I'll put it in the description below. People can check it out.
Okay. All right. Let me pull it back.
I'm going through some of my statuses that I did on Facebook. So again, people who are just catching this later, I have a bunch of statuses that I've done on Facebook, and now I'm just going through them all to kind of talk about them now because they were funny when I put them up. I said, one status I put correction, masks do work. They will keep you from being thrown into jail.
Yeah. But like California, for instance, so they opened up the beaches, told people to keep their social distancing and all that stuff. Well, apparently the beaches were swarmed. But if you look at I think somebody had gotten a shot of with a drone. People were keeping their distance from each other.
Yeah.
But their dumbass freaking governor come out, or the mayor of LA County pretty much come out and said, if y'all don't do what I tell you, then I'm going to close all the state parks, and you won't be allowed to go anywhere in the state. Or no, it's the mayor's LA County. He was talking about LA parks or whatnot, LA County's parks and recreational facilities and stuff. So I mean, talking about where Antifa is, that right there would have been the prime time for Antifa to come out and do their little crap. Is that you? Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's my child upstairs.
Oh, okay. I was like, trying to figure.
Yeah.
He's having a blast.
He's having a blast. He's be in bed. Now I lost my train of thought. So let me see. So my wife's big grievance would be this. Her grievance would be this: is that we're basically being held to bad science.
Yes.
And everything you just said makes no sense in what we're doing now.
Right.
And she mentions like bloodletting back in the early 1900s, and how that was a approved scientific method. If they thought that the illness was in the blood, and so if you bled them, you'll get better.
Right.
So like ventilators, I mean, I don't want to go into all that, but I don't know all the details, but just been people talk about Dr. Shiva out of MIT, and basically said, look, that's killing them. It's killing them. And we can't do that. So, and all this with this shutdown stuff with being outside versus being inside, it's like, what I'm saying? It's like bad science where going off on like.
Yeah. And people wonder why so many people are into or thinking these conspiracy theories that there's something that else is going on. Well, when you have, like I've talked about tonight, fake news media, and you have the numbers that are, this article says they're higher, this article says they're lower, CDC says they're this, but when you look at all these other things like heart disease, cancer, all that's down, there's a reason people think up these damn theories.
Yeah, exactly. Because, and like I said before, again, before the broadcast started, that the flu numbers are down.
Yes.
And so, and also we also mentioned that they get more money, hospitals that is, for corona tests, and how Project Veritas had the whole thing with that video they did with funeral homes saying that we're doubling our numbers and saying this one thing when it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've got a question, a gripe. What the hell is up with damn toilet paper? I mean, come on.
That's a big one.
I mean, son of a bitch. Now, I'm not a hoarder by no means. I'm not even a prepper. But I do believe in being prepared. And when all this started going down, I'm like, well, shit, we're fine for a good month and a half with all of our essentials. Now, after that, we're going to be needing to go out and restock or whatnot. But, the hell? Toilet paper, really?
I laughed at them early on. We saw that, the pictures on CNN where people have their carts in Costco loaded to the top full of toilet paper. Like, I was laughing at them. But then like a month later, I'm like, oh.
Shit.
I'm getting kind of low here. You couldn't find it anywhere.
We're still good.
Well, I say when I see it, I'm buying it. I'm not, but now they're at least saying you can only buy 2 or buy 1. So
right, but
it's still
like
hard to find
or whatnot. They're talking about a meat shortage now. I'm a hunter. I get about 1 to 2 deer a year. This past year, I got a couple deer. We're straight.
Freeze them up, yep.
We are straight for about a month and a half, 2 months. If that's all I had to, survive on, we're fine. And now they're talking about food shortages that are coming. With what is it? Smithfield shutting down, and there's another one that's shutting down because several employees were getting corona. And this is something that it blows my mind. Okay, so Trump is using his executive power, using executive order to force the meat plants to stay open. Why are the Democrats raising hell about that? I mean, seriously. They're raising hell, but that he's forcing the meat producers to stay open. I mean, half of y'all are raising hell because you ain't got no food as it is. If the meat companies shut down, y'all ain't going to have no food. And you want to talk about civil unrest? That's when you're going to have civil unrest.
You know what?
When food shortage happens, you're going to have some civil unrest. And it just blows my mind the stupidity I see coming from the Democrats.
I'm gonna put the stats up here.
I call them rats.
I'm gonna put the stats up here. Here, let you see it. I did this on. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see if I can show this.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That is absolutely right.
Because I did that one back in early April. Because everything you were saying, we're saying like they're coming against everything. I'm like, are you serious?
Okay, so what's the big argument last week was Trump didn't act fast enough. Everything he freaking did, he was a racist, he was xenophobic, he was whatever kind of phobia or ism he is at that particular moment. Like, we had our very first confirmed case, January 21st in Seattle, Washington, correct? That was
some guy went over there, traveled across the country to go there to that very same healthcare center.
Yes.
Yep.
And that was January 21st. Trump enacted the travel ban to and from China, January 31st.
Yep.
And at that time, he was labeled a racist, xenophobic, all that mess. Yep. And hell, AOC was calling everybody that didn't eat at a Chinese restaurant a racist. That was February. I've got those numbers somewhere around here. Yeah.
Well, from to me, timeline. I did a video. I didn't include the AOC part of it though.
Okay. Here it is. March 11th. AOC said people were racist for not eating at a Chinese restaurant. That was in March. But they're saying he didn't act soon enough. But you also have, let's see, blah, 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 blah. I got all my stuff jumbled up here. So February 24th, you had Nancy Pelosi in New York telling everybody to come to Chinatown for their big parade, Yeah. And then, March 8th, you had the LA Marathon, 27,000 people running. They did that. It wasn't until March 16th, California did their stay-at-home order. March 19th, or no, that was March 19th. March 20th, New York did their stay-at-home order. But it's somehow Trump's fault. Yes, Trump is the president of the United States. However, it's your governors and your mayors that make their policies for their state or their city. That's freaking simple. And how these freaking morons don't understand that is beyond me.
I think they understand it, but I think they feel that their constituents don't. So they're basically taking advantage of them because they're not as smart as you and I are. Remember when Trump said, what was it? When he basically pushed the notion that he was the final decision maker in terms of opening up the country.
Right.
And people were conservatives, and rightfully so. I mean, I understand their point was, but he was doing that for effect. He wasn't saying, I'm going to, force the country to do this. He was basically forcing the governors to make a decision and uses pulpit as a bully pulpit actually to force them to start rethinking about what they're going to do and make it an issue in the media. And that's what happened. And like a day later, the governors would say, "Well, we'll do it, but we'll do it like a week after what Trump said to save face."
Right. Well, South Dakota, they never shut down anything, and people are praising their mayors and their governors for not shutting down. Let's see, Georgia, of course, they're getting heat right now, and yeah, Trump says something about it, but I think that was more for Trump covering his own ass when the governor of Georgia was talking about opening back up. But I think, my personal opinion, I think it needs to be opened back up because we're not going to escape this virus. There's no way us staying at home is going to escape it. I mean, look at the damn numbers. We're in stay-at-home orders right now, and the numbers are still climbing, doubling every day in some places. So the stay-at-home is a Band-Aid over a broken arm.
Which is going to kick us.
Yeah, they're going to have to open things back up and let people are going to die. Of course, I hate to say it like that. I know it sounds like I'm just being cold-hearted. Well, my son has asthma. My dad's got lung cancer. So if anybody is for staying at home, it should be me, but I'm taking a different turn with it. I think we need to get out. We need to catch it so we can build up our own immune system to this virus. A natural immune system is going to be better than any vaccine ever created.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because the vaccine they put forth is going to be no more effective than the flu vaccine, which is about what's the effective rate of the flu vaccine any given season?
I have no idea.
It's not.
I'll be lying if I say
it's not 100. It's not 100%, right? It's like
well, I mean, the flu vaccines that they give every year, it's a guess. Well, we think it might be this strand, so this is what we're going to give you. Well, lo and behold, sorry, it was this other strand. I don't take that vaccine. The flu vaccine, I think, is a joke. I refuse to take it. I will not take it. I've never taken it. Knock on wood, I've never gotten the flu.
I took it one time. I got the flu. Seriously, I was sick as a dog, dude. This was about 35 years ago.
Damn. Well, you see, here's my other thing about the flu vaccine. So we've always been told that like vaccines have to go through vigorous testing. You know, they go through animals, and then once they pass the animal trials, then they go to human trials. So by the time they get an actual vaccine for this flu virus, it's already mutated 3 more times. That's 3 years down the road. So just like I read today that there may be a vaccine for this coronavirus. I'm not taking it. I'm not going to take it because that is a rushed. That's rushed science, and you know as well as I do, rushed science is worthless and will do more harm than good, my opinion. Just like if let's say I was going to build a house. If I rushed to build this house, guess what? I missed something. Something's not going to be right, and the house ends up falling down because I rushed it.
Right. You
cannot have a good vaccine without doing the proper procedures. Now, Trump was getting flack over this hydrochloroquine because nobody's done any trials, this, that, and other. And my argument on that has been simply this. If you're on your deathbed and that's your only hope is trying this drug, I'm going to try it at that point. If I'm on my deathbed, that's my only hope. I might survive, I might not.
They've been using since the Vietnam War, by the way.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, every drug you take has its symptoms or has its problems.
Yeah, I think you get diarrhea. That's a side effect of it.
I think it's a rhythmatic heart condition.
Oh,
or something.
Okay. I'm thinking about vitamin C. I'm sorry. Vitamin C over 2,000. Vitamin C over 2,000 milligrams can cause some, whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I'm not a doctor, but this just shit. Different articles I've read, but I'm not taking this vaccine for the corona.
It's scary, dude. It's scary.
It is.
I don't want to keep you too late, but I do want to bring one more point of the. I saw a podcast or heard about a podcast about the 1917 Spanish flu. My son is having a time upstairs.
He said, "Daddy's busy. I'm going to play."
Yeah, he has some running, man. He's like a track star.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the flu vaccine. So basically, dude, if you have a chance to research that thing is out of control, scary. People died left and right. It was bad, dude. I mean, it was horrible. And two points. Number one, they were saying it was mass transit and trains because we didn't have a lot of cars back then. And so actually no cars pretty much. And so people were going back and forth across the country with these trains back and forth and these big city populations with mass transit and being on top of each other. But the big point is, second point is that there was never a solution for it. It just died. It played itself out. That was it. And so my point is, to your point, take care of your health, go outside, take your vitamin C, vitamin D, whatever you want to do. Social distancing, be smart.
Wash your freaking hands.
Wash your hands. Yeah.
That is a gripe of mine. Oh my God. Like where I work, you go to the bathroom. I could not, there's maybe 90% of the people do not wash their hands at my shop. It galls my ass. And every time I see it, of course, I'm that dick. Wash your freaking hands. What the hell's wrong with you?
Especially now, yeah.
Damn. Even now, they're still not. I'm like, man, this is why I don't shake hands anymore. I haven't shaken hands in a long time, but this is why.
Wow.
You nasty ass sons of bitches.
Wow.
That's one of my...
I used to keep a list at my desk back at my old job that where people didn't do that. I would make a note of it. If I was in the bathroom, I'd notice it. I would go back to my desk and put a note. So also not to give them a fist bump or don't touch them at all.
Yep, yeah. I give feet bumps now. I do foot bumps.
There you go.
Yeah, like the old Kid and Play where you...
Yes. House party.
Exactly. Left foot, right foot. Boom. Done. I don't do the spin, but I just boom, done. I even got the CEO, which is, I think he's like 70 years old. I got him doing that. So.
No way.
Yes, sir.
That's not a bad movie, actually. Off subject, but that's not a bad film.
I haven't seen that in probably 30 years.
It's got some heart,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not trashy.
It's funny as hell.
I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah. So anyway, dude. So we've been on this call about how long? About an hour and some change, hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. One last thing.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Have you noticed Pandemic is dim, surrounded by panic?
Yes, dude, man. Your posts on Facebook have been like on fire, dude. I'm like, man, I've been sharing your stuff left and right, man. I'm like, man, this guy is killing it.
And you
saw me. Go ahead.
You would not believe how many damn of my liberal friends, several of them, they just will not. They refuse to touch. I've even tagged them in them. They refuse to touch them. Some of them that are weak arguments, they'll jump on, but I'm like, dude, and I'll pull the other post and it just shuts them down right then and there. It's like, bam.
that one girl, I saw that she was like 1%er or Occupy Wall Street, whatever.
Yeah.
And did you see that? She didn't comment.
She's a 60s hippie. She's one of them Woodstock hippies. She's a friend of my mom's, but if that gives you an idea of the age range, I think she went to school with my mom. But
Oh, okay. Oh, she's older. I didn't want to be disrespectful. I don't like going after people who are older, man. That's not right. But I thought she was younger. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I hammer. I hammer on her quite often. The problem is,
I thought she was one of those people.
She is. She's
wow.
One of them hippies. She's just as far left as you can get. A Bernie bro, or I guess that'd be a Bernie bra. No,
Bernie.
What would that be? Bernie chick.
But the comment was like, the fact that she can't see the inference between the Muslims being not shut down and the Jewish people being shut down. I mean, that to me was just that's the kind of hypocrisy I was mentioning before. Do you not see it? I mean, that's what's happening. People just don't.
Yeah. And the anti-Semitic crap in New York right now is unreal. And De Blasio, he's taking his mask off. He's showing who he is in the especially today right now with all this mess going on. He's showing them exactly who he is and how if he gets reelected, my jaw will hit the floor. I do not understand. I mean, hell, you got several of them. You got Ilhan Omar, AOC, the squad, pretty much. All of them are anti-Semitic as hell. It blows my mind. And how people support that. I mean, did anybody...
And Trump's a Nazi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got a friend of mine. He's liberal, of course, but he's so anti-Trump, but he's Jewish. And I'm like, Trump has done more for the Jewish community than any president prior to him. I mean, how can you claim yourself a Jew and not support what he, especially like putting Jerusalem as capital, Israel, capital of Israel. So I mean, that
he's
alone,
done a bunch, man. He's done a bunch for the Jewish people.
It blows my mind how they can't connect that,
And Jared Kushner was the one pushing a lot of that stuff, which is fine. I mean, but he's still the one doing it. So,
I got one for you. Okay, so, a couple years ago, how they were talking about the white nationalists, how they're Nazis and how they support Trump, this, that, and the other.
Yep.
Okay. So I was watching a CNN interview with one of these guys, and they were talking about Trump and how they support him. They were like, "Oh, well, Trump ain't going to allow his daughter to marry a Jew." I'm like, his daughter is married to a Jew. Talk about fake freaking news. I mean, I was sitting there watching this like, here's my face like, huh?
This can be the thumbnail for the video.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, like I said, it blows my mind and how people buy into it and believe everything CNN, NBC, and all these other mainstream media outlets.
See, here's the thing, though, right? See, for me, I've become a total Trump fanboy, more so than any person I've ever been in my life. Not so much that I agree with everything he says, which is about 99%, but it's just that I'm just so pissed off, right? That I'm so triggered now. If you mention something about Trump, I'm ready to go to war, right? And you can see it on your wall, right? Because like I've been just so pent up, right? And it's like, so I'm defending him for stuff that maybe I shouldn't have, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I'm like, dude, I don't care, dog. You know what I'm saying? Ride or die, baby. Ride or die.
Well, what's funny is like the guy I had on my podcast this past week. He's a Democrat, hell of a nice guy, but I got mad respect for him because he calls it down the middle.
Yeah,
there is no far left. There is no far. He's in the middle.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't like Trump. However, I spend more time defending Trump because of the dumb shit the media puts out and the dumb arguments people have with them. It's like that don't even make sense. And he brought up the fact with the whole injecting disinfectants into your body. It's like he didn't even say that. What is wrong with you people? Can you not listen? But he did say, what made him laugh was when Trump was talking about shoving it, putting a UV light in the body. And where I called him out on that, it's like, well, a person with jaundice, they do treat them with a UV light. So, I mean, and they tell you.
It's his stream of thought, right? He's just talking. Maybe you shouldn't, because the media, They don't give him the benefit of the doubt for anything. That's what pissing me off, man.
Well, see,
They don't give
that's
him the
the thing
benefit of
about
the doubt
the
for
media.
anything.
All the media is after right now is F Trump. We hate Trump. What can we do to make him look bad? That's
Right.
all they are about right now. So instead of reporting the news, and that's the one thing about all these the news briefings that he's been having every day. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
With,
I watch him.
okay. So with all these news briefings, it's destroying the media's narrative. That's why the media don't want to cover it, because it's destroying their narrative. They cannot twist it, because you have it right there. You can see it for yourself. But of course, you got a butt ton of these liberals that refuse to go and do a little bit of research. That's all they got to do. You know, the mainstream media takes everything out of context. They manipulate it. Like I bust my wife's balls all the time with, if I say this, she takes it, she twists it, she manipulates it, and then when she says it, it comes out completely different than what I said. And that's what the mainstream media is doing with Trump. That's, like I said, that's my biggest gripe.
And I think that's why he's doing so well with independents. I think, again, I'm not sure if this was a broadcast or not, but there's a poll that came out today, actually, there yesterday. Gallup poll basically had Trump at his highest level, 49% with independents. And that actually parallels with another poll that came out with Emerson polling, which had Trump at independents, who basically felt he was going to win. And the enthusiasm gap was still way higher for Trump than it was with Biden. So his polling numbers are still about where they were prior to the virus. So, I mean, despite all that stuff in the media, they're not making any inroads in that department.
Well, take Trump. Take Biden. I mean, look, Trump is not a great speaker, but compared to Biden, Trump's a great speaker. I've never thought Trump was a good speaker. I thought Trump is like me getting in front of a crowd and trying to talk, you know, because I do the same shit he does. I think out loud, you know, and Biden is not a good speaker. He's completely lost it. I swear, not trying to pick on him, because I kind of feel sorry for the dude. I believe he's got dementia. Something's going on with Joe.
Yeah,
something. He's not all there. So, which tells me if he gets elected president, who's really running the country? Because I don't see Joe Biden having the brain capacity to do it.
Well, his wife's been kind of stepping in on his press conferences. You see that?
I've noticed that. I know. What's her name? Stacey Abram. She's pushing hard to be his running mate, and she's done shot herself in the foot with this whole sex accusations.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and everything. Anybody that follows me on Facebook, everything I post about the sexual allegations against Biden is merely to point out the hypocrisy of the Me Too movement and the feminist movement, and that every woman should be believed. Because if you notice, Biden, that silly girl from Who's the Boss? What's her name?
You said Alyssa
Milano, Stacey Abram, all of them have stepped back on that mess. They've walked all their comments from the Brett Kavanaugh hearing, and this woman, Tara Reid, has more credibility, in my opinion. She's had 3 people collaborate her story. It's like they found a Larry King interview from 1993 where Tara Reid's mom called in and was talking about it. So, I'm not saying the accusations are true.
Sure, of course not.
They've got more. They hold more water than anything Blousy Ford had to say.
Exactly, and that's why I posted it. Not to because trust me, if he hadn't been doing that, I probably wouldn't be posting it.
Right?
If he had the Kavanaugh stuff, because it's.
The Democrats set a bar that was impossible to maintain. They set a standard that nobody can maintain, and now they're having to walk their crap back with their boy Joe Biden. Old sleepy, creepy Uncle Joe.
And there's so many, and there's so many pictures out there with him. You know, the optics for Joe Biden, it just isn't good. If you go out there and just look on YouTube, whatever, or
Right.
Facebook, you'll see these memes, the little girls, and the inappropriate touching.
And you see, I think this hurts him more than most people think, because Joe Biden's kind of running as I'm the stand-up guy. I'm the one who will bring faith and everything back to the White House. I'm like, remember
we're not even talking about Ukraine. Ukraine's a whole nother issue. You can get him on that too, but
Ukraine, and now you got the Michael Flynn. Holy shnikes.
Yeah, I didn't bring that up. With house.
I mean, damn. It's been, if you can filter through all the Corona shit, there's a bunch coming out here lately.
It's a big if right there.
A bunch of crap coming out. Michael Flynn, people ought to be going to jail over that ordeal.
Absolutely.
I mean, what little bit I know about it, the whole narrative that, well, the FBI are the ones that are watching everybody. They're the ones that are keeping the government, at bay, keeping them under control. Well, apparently they need to be kept under control now. It's gotten ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. And I'm just hoping that the conspiracy theory of the fall of cabal, I hope it's right. 100%. I hope it's right.
So I got a link on that. I started watching it. So I know it's pretty long. You think I should watch it? All of it is how long is it? Like an hour and a half?
Well, it's 10 videos that are about between 15 to 20-minute long. So 10 of those.
Okay, that's right. That's it then. Yeah. That's it.
I mean, and like I said, they go through Hillary Clinton's emails. They go through the Pizzagate scandals. They go through bunch of Clinton scandals, and every the Ukraine deal. They go through a bunch of that stuff and tie it all together. It's like I said,
one-stop shop for conspiracies.
It's a really good thought out deal. They even get in on Jeffrey Epstein on it. So I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeffrey Epstein. Golly, that's a.
I mean, if you ever need an example of someone who's just outright obliviously obvious, I mean, we called it. Everybody called it. Didn't we?
Yeah, and you haven't heard shit about it.
When it happened, I thought it was a joke. When it actually did happen, I thought they were joking. No.
It's like, come on now.
All the cameras turned off. Come on, man.
The guards were asleep. The camera was off. And he's got 3 broken bones in his neck. Come on,
and
man.
He did from the top bunk. He hung himself from the top bunk. It's like what? Yeah, 10 feet off the ground.
Not even.
And like 10 feet, like 6 feet.
Yeah, and then leaned forward and basically strangled himself. And like the doctors were saying that the only way you're going to break those bones is if you drop, or if somebody uses some force on it to break those bones. You're not going to strangle yourself by leaning forward and break those bones. Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. You take that to the bank.
Yeah, but that doctor kind of got off script there. We said that,
and I'm wondering, is that doctor still alive? Is that doctor still alive?
I don't think he is. I don't know.
He may have committed suicide.
I want to say he died, but I don't know. I don't
think so. He's gonna
4 times.
Exactly. So, yeah. And what baffles me is, are they investigating it? Are they really investigating the Epstein?
I
haven't heard shit about it in a long time. I'm just saying, conspiracy theories.
I really am scared about this cabal video, though.
Do what?
I'm I'm pretty scared about this Cabal video, I must say.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it though.
It is freaky.
Based on what you just told me, maybe give me a overall. At least I can talk intelligently on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it right now.
And just for people that are watching.
Anyway, dude, I'm gonna let you go.
I do like conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah.
I find them entertaining. That's the only reason I read them. Some of them I do think are plausible. Some of them I think they're just funny as hell. And who the hell thinks of shit like this? But
yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. Again, was that it's just for if we talk about it, it's one thing. But if we actually take a position on it, then you're risking yourself not having the evidence to do it. So you kind of discredit yourself if it comes out wrong. But it is interesting to listen and watch because I mean. And at least to talk intelligently on what's going on, because some people they say conspiracy, they think you're already crazy. But no, I don't know about all that, because there's a lot of conspiracies that happen on a day-to-day basis. I'm sorry?
Get my tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, I mean...
hell, what are your thoughts on the surveillance ordeal since all this has been going on? Have you kept
surveillance? You mean with the masks or just with...
Well, no, just in general, from... Now, I don't know if it's a theory or if it's something by it, but, well, prime example, in China, they're flying drones around telling people to take their ass inside or put on a mask or whatever the case is. And there's a couple cities in the U.S. that are doing that as well. They're claiming that the cameras on them are not turned on or they're not recording, but they're using these drones to fly around the cities and telling people social distance, blah, blah, blah. I call my personal opinion bullshit. They're recording everybody, and just my personal belief. I could be wrong. Well,
I think if they can, they will.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think if they have the resources, they will.
And, with
they've already,
they, I think it's FAA? They make the rules for the drones. So if you was to shoot a drone down out of the sky, you just committed a felony under federal law because drones are controlled or are protected under the FAA. So I mean, sorry,
there was a case where a guy was using a drone to spy on his daughter. And he shot it down with his shotgun, and he got arrested for it.
Oh shoot! I haven't heard about that.
You can Google that. It happened a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. Maybe I did hear about that, and I think I did. Now you said about.
I think it wasn't a drone. Probably, I think it was the fact that it was discharging a firearm. I believe was the charge.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure if we got one for the drone itself.
If I see a drone come around my house, it's coming down one way or another. It may be a firearm. It may be a rock. I'm throwing shit at it. That falls under your constitutional rights of privacy. If I'm in my backyard let's say I lay out in the backyard naked and a drone's coming over, well, that's invading my privacy.
Yeah.
Or
you're creepy, man.
I don't have to be naked. I could just be in my backyard.
No, the drones are creepy.
Oh, I thought you were saying I was creepy.
No, the drones are creepy. No.
You just got me creepy Uncle Woody.
No. The drones are creepy. The first time I saw a drone was the holiday parade in North Carolina, where I was going on the parade route. I was part of the parade for JC's I was in, and then I looked up. There was this drone right above me, hovering over. I was like, "What the hell?" And I was like, "That was freaky. It freaked me out, man." I was like, "What is that thing?" I was like, "It was, that's like 10 years ago," and I was like, "Man," and ever since. When I see him now, I'm just like, look, man, that's just ain't cool, man. Even though I want one, I do want one though.
Yeah, me too. I just don't want to pay that money for it.
Yeah, but it's good for filming. Filming aerial shots and whatever.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know I'm getting off on a tangent and stuff. What are your thoughts on the churches staying shut down?
Well, I guess it goes back to what we said before. I mean, if they're consistent across the board, I guess that's fair is fair. But I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, again, at the beginning of this live stream, I said, if the CDC is telling us the truth, then I can kind of go along with some of this stuff. The problem is, I don't think the HO, the CDC, Center for Disease Control, whatever they are, whatever, infectious diseases, Fauci, his department, whatever. I don't believe that they're actually telling us everything. So
I agree.
That's why I'm hesitant on even saying yay or nay on that.
Well, see, here's how I view it. If you want to go to church and sit in the parking lot and listen to it on your radio or sit in your house or whatever the case is, I think churches can be open. I think they can do things at a social distance. Be smart about shit, you know? Wear your mask, use your hand sanitizer or whatnot, but don't shake hands. Just, hey, you know, hey, buddy, hey, buddy. Whatever the case is, but there was it Detroit, I think it was, where they sent the sheriffs through the parking lot and they were writing down the license plates and giving people fines for being in the church parking lot. If you're in your car, that's like being in your house. Yeah, it's your person, you know.
Yeah, that's a money grab there, man. That's a power money grab, man.
Oh yeah. So my personal opinion, I think the churches could be open. They could stay open, but like I said, people just need to use a little common sense. If you have, you know, people every 6 foot, you know, your family's here, the next family's 6 foot, you know, once the church has so many people in it, we can't allow any more people. The rest of you sit in the parking lot or whatever you want to do, or watch it on the podcast or something. A live feed on Facebook.
Yeah, I think people will be willing to work with it. We'll work with those kind of constraints, but to just say totally can't go. That's kind of
right. Well, I mean,
that's
against the Constitution there, you know?
Yep.
So I don't know. I think some of these governors and mayors are definitely flexing their muscle a little too much with some of these rules, if you will. But I know you've been trying to get off here for the past 30 minutes, so I guess I'm going to let you run.
Well, I'm going to let you, because we missed the first part of it, I'm going to let everybody introduce yourself again. This is introduce yourself or your podcast, and where can they find you online?
All right, I'm Woody with Sweating Bullets Podcast. You can catch me on, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, PodoMatic, Google Play. You can email me or Michelle, my co-host, which, sorry, she couldn't be with us tonight. Sweating Bullets Podcast at outlook.com. And you can check me out on Facebook. That's Woody's Sweating Bullets .1 on Facebook. Yeah, that's easiest way to get in touch with me. Facebook.com/Woody's.sweatingbullets.1 is my direct link to my Facebook page.
Yeah, I love the Google Play because it just comes right across, pops in my inbox, and I just listen to it. So cool, man. That was fun. I hope this was entertaining to those and those who didn't get all of our humor. Well, that's how we roll sometimes here. My name is Kyle. I'm the Conservative Take. We take culture, TV, movies, and we filter it right. And Woody, thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to talking to you again. And
thanks for having me, and I'll get you back on Sweating Bullets before too long.
Oh yeah, I look forward to that, and give Michelle my best.
We'll do. All right, man. Be good.
Dude. Take care.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.